Imagine you're walking through a dream, a staircase that goes nowhere, a door floating in the air, a fish drifting past your head, and you don't question any of it because you can't. But then, for just a second, something flickers. You look down at your own hands, and a single, impossible thought arrives. Wait, none of this is real. I'm dreaming. And here's the strange part. The dream doesn't stop. You're still inside it. But suddenly, you are awake inside something that is still asleep. So what just happened in your head? What flickered on, in the dark, that wasn't supposed to be there? This is Pondara, things you never thought to wonder about. Last time, we asked why we dream at all, and we ended at a single door, the one almost no one walks through. This is what's on the other side of it. Because more than half of us have stood exactly where that figure is standing, woken up inside a dream at least once, usually by accident. And what scientists have recorded in the brain at that precise moment is, genuinely, one of the strangest things we know about human consciousness. It isn't a trick. It isn't just a vivid dream. It's a state your mind isn't supposed to be able to enter. And to understand it, we have to start with what's wrong with the obvious explanation. You've probably heard the easy version. A lucid dream is just a really vivid dream. A dream so detailed, so sharp, that you sort of know it's a dream, like turning the brightness all the way up. Or maybe you think of it as a skill, a party trick, something a few obsessive people train themselves to do, with no real meaning behind it. Spin a few mental plates and you get to fly. And both of those feel reasonable. They're also both wrong, because lucidity has nothing to do with how vivid the dream is. You can have a blindingly vivid dream and never once realize it isn't real. And you can have a dull, grey, ordinary dream and suddenly know. The vividness isn't the thing that changed. Something else switched on. And to see what, you have to understand what your brain is doing on every other night, the ones where you never wake up inside. Here is the fact almost nobody knows about ordinary dreaming. Every night, when you slip into REM sleep, the stage where the vivid dreams live, one specific region of your brain switches off. It sits right behind your forehead. It's called the prefrontal cortex, and it's the part that makes you you. It's where you reason, where you reflect, where you ask, does this make sense? It's the inner voice that fact-checks reality. And in a normal dream, it goes dark. That single fact explains almost everything strange about dreams. Why a dead relative can sit at your kitchen table and you feel nothing odd. Why you can be in two places at once. Why you only realize how insane it all was the moment you wake up. It's not that the dream is convincing. It's that the part of you that would object has been switched off. There's no one home to ask the question, so you never ask it. If that quietly rearranged how you think about your own dreams, a like genuinely helps these reach the people who'd want to see them. Now hold that picture, because here's where it turns strange. In the late 2000s, a researcher named Ursula Voss did something clever. She brought experienced lucid dreamers into a sleep lab, wired their heads with dense sensors, and waited. And the instant they became lucid, their brains lit up in a way no ordinary dreamers ever does. A particular fast rhythm, around 40 cycles a second, what's called gamma activity, surged across the front of the brain, the exact region that's supposed to be offline. The lights were coming back on, in the one room that's meant to stay dark all night. But that raises a far stranger question. If part of you is waking up, but you're still dreaming, then what state are you actually in? You're not awake. Your eyes are closed. Your body's paralyzed. The dream is still running. But you're not in ordinary sleep either, because the thinking part of you is back online. Voss's answer was quietly radical. Lucid dreaming, she argued, isn't a kind of sleep, and it isn't waking. It's a third thing, a hybrid, a state of consciousness sitting in the gap between the two, one we didn't even know the brain could produce. And here's the part that turns the whole thing inside out. For most of history, there was no way to prove any of this, because how do you prove someone is awake inside a dream when, from the outside, they're just a sleeping body? In 1978, a Stanford scientist named Stephen LaBerge found the answer. In REM sleep, your whole body is paralyzed, except your eyes. So he made an agreement with himself before sleeping. The moment he became lucid, he would move his eyes in a deliberate pattern, left, right, a signal. And one night, deep in verified REM sleep, the pen on the machine outside traced that exact pattern. A message sent from inside a dream by someone who knew they were dreaming. The first words ever sent across the border of sleep. And then it got stranger still. Because if a flicker of 40-cycle activity at the front of the brain is what makes you lucid, what happens if you put it there on purpose? In 2014, Voss tried it. She took people who'd never had a lucid dream, waited until they were deep in REM, and ran a gentle electrical current across the front of their heads at that exact frequency, 40 cycles a second. And it worked. People who had never once woken up inside a dream suddenly did. Not because they trained, because someone from the outside switched the thinking part of their brain back on while they slept. So a lucid dream was never just a vivid dream, and it was never just a skill. It's the moment the part of you that makes you, you, the part switched off every single night, flickers back on while the dream keeps running. You're not watching the dream anymore. You're watching your own self-awareness come back online from the inside. And almost no one is ever conscious enough to see it happen. So, that flicker at the very start, you standing in the dream, looking down at your hands, the impossible thought arriving. Wait, I'm dreaming. Now you know what was really happening. That wasn't the dream getting clearer. That was a region behind your forehead, dark all night, quietly coming back to life. 40 cycles a second, lighting up the one room that's meant to stay closed until morning. For that moment, you weren't asleep and you weren't awake. You were standing in the doorway between them, fully conscious, inside something entirely unreal. And the only proof it ever happened is that, somehow, you knew. And it isn't all or nothing. Lucidity comes in levels, from the faintest sense that something is wrong to a hazy half-knowing, all the way up to standing in a dream, completely clear-headed, knowing exactly where you are. Which means awareness itself isn't a switch, it's a dimmer. And somewhere on that dial sits the most ordinary thing in the world, being awake right now, reading this. The same self-awareness that feels so solid, so permanent, is something your brain builds. It can be switched off every night without you noticing, and on rare nights, switched back on in the one place it was never meant to reach. Maybe that's the quiet wonder of it. You spend a third of your life as a passenger in worlds your own mind invents, never once asking if they're real. And then, sometimes, for no reason at all, you wake up without ever opening your eyes. The most familiar feeling you have, the sense of simply being here, turns out to be something fragile, something assembled, something that can arrive even in the dark. If the idea that your own awareness is something the brain switches on and off keeps you up tonight, you already know the kind of mind that wanders here. Subscribe to Pondara and keep wondering about the things you never thought to wonder about. I'll see you in the next quiet moment.